If you are looking at buying a camera cage for your GH6, we're going to have a look at the GH6 cage from Nitze today. I will share with you the things I like and don't like about this cage, and also some of the very important accessories that would benefit you as well. Kia ora, good morning everyone, Richard here. Welcome back to the channel. I have received a parcel from Nitze recently. Inside it, there is a cage for the Panasonic Lumix GH6, a SSD holder, and also their new mini follow focus that is not even released yet. I have a separate review about their mini follow focus, so check it out after watching this review, as that is a very nice follow focus. The Nitze GH6 cage is made of aluminium alloy and it has a very nice black finish outside. It's a full-size cage and it is very solid. The weight of this cage is just over 200 grams, and there are many 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch mounting holes on the cage. They're on the top, both sides, the bottom, and also the front of the cage, so pretty much everywhere on the cage. A lot of the mounting holes also has the area locating pins for anti-twisting. There are 2 rubber pads at the bottom of the cage, so the cage won't scratch the camera, and also it provides a little bit more friction. There are 2 cold shoe mounts at the top, one on the left and one on the right, for you to install additional accessories, maybe a microphone or a small LED light. The bottom of the cage is an Arca Swiss plate, so you can just slide the cage onto an Arca Swiss tripod mount. There is a small flathead screwdriver that is magnetically attached to the bottom of the cage. The left side of the cage is also a NATO rail, so you could attach additional accessories that use a NATO clamp onto the cage. There are 3 camera strap slots on the cage, one on the top left here and 2 on the right side of the cage for you to attach camera strap directly onto the cage. The cage comes with a HDMI cable clamp which you can attach to the side of the cage for you to secure the HDMI cable connection. I will show you that very soon. So by just looking at the cage itself, Nitze has done pretty much everything that you can think of, with all these different mounting options available, and you can attach accessories onto pretty much any side of the cage. So now let's see if it actually works well or not once you mount the cage onto the camera. To mount the cage onto the camera, you need to first remove the triangle metal thingy from the camera strap lug on this side of the camera. It's because the cage has a 3-point anti-twist mounting design, and one of the mounting points is the camera strap lug on this side of the camera. Once you have removed that triangle metal thingy, you can now mount the cage onto the camera. If you are a GH6 owner, you will probably know that the GH6 tripod mount has an extra mounting hole for the video camera tripod, which use 2 mounting screws. So Nitze take advantage of that, and it also uses 2 mounting screws at the bottom of the cage to lock onto the camera to prevent twisting. You may need to unscrew both screws on the cage a little bit first to allow the camera to slide onto the cage. Then you tighten up both screws, and as I just mentioned before, the cage also uses one of the camera strap lug as a mounting point. So there is a little screw for you to lock the top of the cage onto the camera strap lug. And now the cage should be attached very securely on the camera. I really love this 3-point mounting design, as there is virtually no twisting at all, no matter how I hold or try to push the cage in any direction. But there is also a downside, and that is, if you want to remove the cage from the camera, you need to remove 3 screws, and it requires 3 different tools to do that. For the main screw on the bottom here, you need to use the flathead screwdriver that is attached to the bottom of the cage, so that is pretty easy. But the other screw at the bottom requires a hex key, which you need to carry separately, and the screw for the camera strap lug also require a hex key, but a smaller one, so you need to carry 2 extra hex key. if you want to remove the cage. I guess this is a design trade-off, whether you want to make the cage locks onto the camera as solid as possible with no twisting at all, or you want to allow users to remove the cage as quickly as possible. To be fair, this is probably not an issue for most users, as most users probably don't need to remove the cage very often. But if you are someone who would like to remove the cage regularly, this is definitely not the easiest cage for that. I would like to see if Nitze can improve the design of the flathead screwdriver that comes with the cage, incorporate the hex keys as part of that too, or maybe just have a separate hex key that the both ends are the different sizes that is required for removing the two other screws of the cage. So if the user want to remove the cage, at least they have all the tools that is already attached to the bottom of the cage. Okay, now we have the cage mounted on the camera. Let's talk about whether it works well or not. For this side of the camera, the cage fits really close to the camera. So overall, the grip feels only slightly thicker compared to without having the cage installed, and I can still hold it very comfortably even I don't have a big hand. For the opposite side, the cage does extrude a bit more to the front, so if you hold the camera like this, you would feel the cage push into the center of your palm a little bit more compared to without the cage. All the ports and doors on the camera are not blocked by the cage. You can still access the battery door, the memory card slots, and of course all the ports on the left side of the camera very easily. You can flip out the LCD screen and rotate it. That's not a problem at all, and you can control pretty much all the dials and buttons very easily as well. I said pretty much because the three buttons at the top here, the white balance, ISO, and the exposure compensation buttons, is a little bit harder to press when you have the cage installed. I mean, I can still press them, but I imagine if someone has much bigger fingers than me, then you may find it a bit hard to press those buttons. I guess if Nitze make this part of the cage a little bit taller, then it would make it a lot easier to access these three buttons. There is a HDMI clamp that comes with the cage. You can attach it to the side of the cage to provide more physical protection to your HDMI cable connection. One nice thing is that the HDMI clamp does not block the USB port, so you can use the USB port at the same time. That would be very important as the GH6 is getting the SSD recording option very soon, so I imagine a lot of GH6 users will be connecting an external SSD drive to the USB port. I would like to see if Nitze would make a slightly bigger HDMI cable clamp that also include the USB port as well to provide better support and protection to the USB connection. If you are planning to connect a SSD to your GH6, Nitze also makes a SSD holder for the Samsung T7 SSD drive. You can attach it easily to the cage. I find attaching it to the left side of the cage is the best place as it is close to the USB port and I can still hold the camera quite easily. The SSD holder is not included as part of the cage, so you need to buy it separately. I usually like to attach a handle to the top of the cage so I can carry the camera very easily and I can attach even more accessories to the cage. And if you are my regular viewer, you will know I really love the Nitze Stinger handle, which I have reviewed a while ago, and that is still my favorite handle today. It is just very solid and extremely comfortable to hold. So check out my Nitze Stinger handle review if you are interested in getting a handle for your cage. Now, if you are planning to use some cine lenses or manual focus lenses with your GH6, I would recommend you to check out their new mini photo focus. It is a small photo focus that is very smooth and you can attach it to the cage directly. Since I already attached the SSD holder to the left side of the cage, so I found attaching the photo focus to the top of the cage works very well, especially when I want to do some handheld run and gun style shooting. There's one more way for you to attach the photo focus, and that is to use the Nitze 50mm aluminum alloy rod kit. Using that rod kit, you can attach a rod directly onto your cage 1/4" screw mount. So remember to check out my review of this Nitze mini follow focus after watching this video if you are interested in it. So this is another very solid cage from Nitze. I really love the 3-prongs mounting design, which makes the cage rock solid. You can't really twist it at all even if you try to. The cage is pretty comfortable to use and it provides tons of mounting options as well. The only downside is pretty much just the 3 buttons here at the top is a little bit harder to reach once you have the cage installed, and also it is not the fastest cage to remove, but everything else about this cage is excellent. Thank you very much for watching this review. If you have any question about this cage, just drop a comment below. And if you are looking at buying a cage, remember to check out the other cage accessory reviews on my channel as well.